from A Man Without a Country by Vonnegut, Chapter 7. Starts with a little artwork. Do you think Arabs are dumb? They gave us our numbers. Try doing long division with Roman numerals. And now on to the chapter. I turned 82 on November 11th, 2004. What's it like to be this old? I can't parallel park worth the damn anymore, so please don't watch while I try to do it. And gravity has become a lot less friendly and manageable than it used to be. When you get to my age, if you get to my age, and if you have reproduced, you will find yourself asking your own children, who are themselves middle-aged, what is life all about? I have 7 kids, 3 of them orphan nephews. I put my big question about life to my son, the pediatrician. Dr. Vonnegut said this to his doddering old dad. Father, we are here to help each other get through this thing, whatever it is. No matter how corrupt, greedy, and heartless our government, our corporations, our media, and our religious and charitable institutions may become, the music will still be wonderful. If I should ever die, heaven forbid, let this be my epitaph. The only proof he needed for the existence of God was music. Now, during our catastrophically idiotic war in Vietnam, the music kept getting better and better and better. We lost that war, by the way. Order couldn't be restored in Indochina until the people kicked us out. That war only made billionaires out of millionaires. Today's war is making trillionaires out of billionaires. Now I call that progress. And how come the people in countries we invade can't fight like ladies and gentlemen, in uniform and with tanks and helicopter gunships? Back to music. It makes practically everybody fonder of life than he or she would be without it. Even military bands, although I am a pacifist, always cheer me up. And I really like Strauss and Mozart and all that, but the priceless gift that African Americans gave the whole world when they were still in slavery was a gift so great that it is now almost the only reason many foreigners still like us, at least a little bit. That specific remedy for the worldwide epidemic of depression is a gift called the blues. All pop music today, jazz, swing, bebop, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, the Stones, rock and roll, hip-hop, and on, is derived from the blues. A gift to the world? One of the best rhythm and blues combos I ever heard was 3 guys and a girl from Finland playing in a club in Krakow, Poland. The wonderful writer Albert Murray, who is a jazz historian and a friend of mine, among other things, told me that during the era of slavery in this country, an atrocity from which we can never fully recover, the suicide rate per capita among slave owners was much higher than the suicide rate among slaves. Murray says he thinks this is because slaves had a way of dealing with depression, which their white owners did not. They could shoo away old man suicide by playing and singing the blues. He says something else, which also sounds right to me. He says the blues can't drive depression clear out of a house, but can drive it into the corners of any room where it's being played. So please remember that. Foreigners love us for our jazz, and they don't hate us for our purported liberty and justice for all. They hate us now for our arrogance. Side note. This book was written in 2005. When I, meaning Kurt Vonnegut, went to grade school in Indianapolis, the James Whitcomb Riley School number 43, We used to draw pictures of houses of tomorrow, boats of tomorrow, airplanes of tomorrow, and there were all these dreams for the future. Of course, at that time, everything had come to a stop. The factories had stopped. The Great Depression was on, and the magic word was prosperity. Sometime prosperity will come. We were preparing for it. We were dreaming of the sorts of houses human beings should inhabit, ideal dwellings, ideal forms of transportation. What is radically new today is that my daughter, Lily, who has just turned 21, finds herself, as do your children, as does George W. Bush, himself a kid, and Saddam Hussein, and on, heir to a shockingly recent history of human slavery, to an AIDS epidemic, and to nuclear submarines slumbering on the floors of fjords in Iceland and elsewhere. Crews prepared at a moment's notice to turn industrial quantities of men, women, and children into radioactive soot and bone meal by means of rockets and H-bomb warheads. Our children have inherited technologies whose byproducts, whether in war or peace, are rapidly destroying the whole planet as a breathable, drinkable system for supporting life of any kind. Anyone who has studied science and talks to scientists notices that we are in terrible danger now. Human beings, past and present, have trashed the joint. The biggest truth to face now, what is probably making me unfunny now for the remainder of my life, is that I don't think people give a damn whether the planet goes on or not. It seems to me as if everyone is living as members of Alcoholics Anonymous do, day by day. And a few more days will be enough. I know of very few people who are dreaming of a world for their grandchildren. Many years ago, I was so innocent, I still considered it possible that we could become the humane and reasonable America so many members of my generation used to dream of. We dreamed of such an America during the Great Depression when there were no jobs, and when we fought and often died for that dream during the Second World War when there was no peace. But I know now that there's not a chance in hell of America becoming humane and reasonable. Because power corrupts us, and absolute power corrupts us absolutely. Human beings are chimpanzees who get crazy drunk on power. By saying that, I do not mean that our leaders are power-drunk chimpanzees. By saying that our leaders are power-drunk chimpanzees, am I in danger of wrecking the morale of our soldiers fighting and dying in the Middle East? Their morale, like so many lifeless bodies, is already shot to pieces. They are being treated, as I never was, like toys a rich kid got for Christmas. The most intelligent and decent prayers ever uttered by a famous American, addressed to whom it may concern, and following an enormous man-made calamity, were those of Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, back when battlefields were small. They could be seen in their entirety by men on horseback atop a hill. Cause and effect were simple. Cause was gunpowder, a mixture of potassium nitrate, charcoal, and sulfur. Effect was flying metal, or a bayonet, or a rifle butt. Abraham Lincoln said this about the silenced killing grounds at Gettysburg. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. Poetry. It was still possible to make horror and grief in wartime seem almost beautiful. Americans could still have illusions of honor and dignity when they thought of war. The illusion of human you-know-what. That is what I call it, the you-know-what. And may I note parenthetically that I have already in this section exceeded by 100 words or more the whole of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. I am windy.